is a quick reminder basically for installers to where what warranty items to look for, what not to do, what to do to help you make a successful repair. And hopefully it'll keep you from having warranty down the road. There's a lot of things that go on trying to diagnose why the system went down. The biggest problem we run into on compressor failure is low refrigerant. So you have to make sure that once you get the system up and operating properly, you do a very good leak check on it. There's a lot of old oil and contaminants that are not flushed out of the system during the service. Please make sure and get all the old flush out of the system. That flush breaks down oil. If you don't get the flush out, it's going to break down the new oil. Oil in the AC system is the most important item to pay attention to. You used to have compressors that would have 8, 10, 12 ounces of oil in it, very forgiving. Nowadays you have some compressors that are oil retentive. Some of them only have 3 ounces of oil in it, so it's very important you pay attention to the oil. If you get a hybrid that comes into your shop, please make sure you understand what you're working on. The oil in these hybrid compressors is totally different than a PAG 46 or anything else that's out there. You're dealing with these later model vehicles. Probably 90% of these vehicles now are control valve compressors where they are variable wobble plates. Please make sure that you're paying attention to what you're working on, and you have so many different sensors now that cause the compressor to pump or not pump. Transducers, thermistors, resistors. So please make sure that you know what you're working on, and please make sure that you have a full refrigerant charge before you start doing the diagnostics. A lot of the times these compressors will have 60% of the oil in the compressor. So drain the oil out of that compressor that you're removing and inspect it. Take a look at it. You might want to think about adding ASAP lubricant enhancer. It is a very, very good lubricant. You just add it, you add it one time, and it'll help the performance and the longevity of that compressor. A lot of the common reasons why we would reject warranty when it comes into the GPD warehouse, if the clutch is burnt, that usually means that there is a high pressure or voltage issue. If the compressor comes in and it is a solid rust on the pulleys, it looks like it's been sitting outside in a core bed, that'll also be a reason for a rejection. On the back of most of these compressors, they have a high pressure pop-off valve. If the high pressure pop-off valve has been activated, that would be a reason for a rejection because it was due to high pressure. If the O-ring seats have been damaged where the manifold mounts to the compressor, if those are damaged to where either the manifold would not seat, or if it was broke or cross-threaded, or if it was dropped, that would be a reason why the compressor would be rejected. After you do the service, please check and make sure that your micro pin connectors are working properly. A good wiggle will always save you grief down the road. With these micro pins, they arc a little bit, especially on the OE connector side. They'll make contact for a little while and then all of a sudden it stops and the customer goes back. So please pay attention to these micro pins, and we sell a lot for the Nissans because Nissans have a big problem with it. So if you run into it, especially on the Nissan, go ahead and change the OE side of the plug that mates up to the GPD compressor side. Pay close attention to the scroll compressors. They are a high failure compressor just due to the design. So please make sure and change the condensers on anything that is a scroll compressor. Another item you really need to look at, since we're changing lots of condensers now, most of these condensers now have a desiccant bag in the dryer mounted on the condenser. When you pull that condenser off to replace it, go ahead and pull the old desiccant bag out of the dryer and inspect it. You want to see what's going on in that system. If it's clean, the oil's fairly clean, then chances are you're going to have a fail-safe system. If it is totally dirty, if it has no oil in it, it'll tell you that A, you're going to have to flush and clean that system if it's dirty, or B, the system failed due to lack of oil. Please note, you cannot flush parallel flow condensers. Ask your GVD representative about the little sample that shows you how small these holes are when you're wanting to inform your customer of why you have to change that condenser. It's easy to show them. There is no way that you could flush these new style condensers, period. Also note that the design of evaporator have changed over the years. Basically, it's taking two condensers, multi-flow, putting them side by side, and that's the evaporator nowadays. There is no way you could flush these. So please know what you're working on. Please make sure that you flush properly. Nowadays, you might just have to be able to flush the hoses, and you're changing the compressor, you're going to change the condenser, and depending on the dirty of the oil, that you have to change the evaporator. Fan clutches and electric fans. Fan clutches aren't that popular anymore, but electric fans are. Please make sure to inspect your electric fan. Let it run a little while. Some of these electric fans will get a little weak after they run a couple of minutes, and then you get a false diagnostic level. A vehicle comes back in and you're inspecting it and it has a clutch failure. Chances are it was not the clutch that failed. It had something else to do with the compressor. The biggest reason is it's low in refrigerant, or it has a improper refrigerant level. So please make sure that the vehicle is fully charged when you're inspecting it. If not, then you probably have a leak, and that's might have what caused that clutch to go out. Pay attention to your oil levels. Please make sure you've got the proper amount of oil and the right oil that goes with every compressor. And then next of all would be voltage, which is usually not the case, but go ahead, if you have a failure, check the voltage and make sure it's proper. Also, a lot of problems nowadays is blocked or restricted condensers, especially if they've been worked on before. It'll cause high head pressure and cause the compressor to lock up.